Hi and welcome to part 2 of how to digitize a design. Part 1 we showed you how to digitize the background fill. In this part in part 2 we're going to show you how to digitize the edging to that same design. Okay, so I've finished the background fill stitches. I'm now going to move on to the columns edging, which is in green, so I need to change. I'll just put a couple of tie off stitches there, change colour to purple, put another couple of tie off stitches there. I now need to switch to column stitch mode, which is this icon here, or I can press the enter key. So I'm going to start on the edge here, starting on the inside. Always remember which side, otherwise you will have twisted columns. So as I say, I've not put, as I said earlier, I've not put helper stitches in the middle here under the C, but it does it's fairly straightforward, so I don't need to do that. And I can actually see the columns fairly well here. If I wanted to remove the design so I could see the columns better, then noting the number of stitches, which is around 794, I can use this function here, which is to display the design from a particular stitch number. So if I say 790, press the enter key, it only will show the last 4 stitches. So therefore the design is still there, but it's hidden and only drawing from stitch 904. I can then see the image much better to digitize over. So I'm going to put 2 left hand mouse buttons to start the straight edge of a column, curved column, and then a straight edge again, which should produce me a nice curved column. Remember, I started on the inside, so the first it's been on the inside, then on the outside, so I must go to the inside again here. So they were 2 mark 1 stitches, or 2 left mouse buttons, 2 right mouse buttons, and then left mouse buttons again. You can see a nice curved column. If you want to know more about how to digitize a column with the left and the right mouse buttons, densities, etc., defined fills, we have released other videos to do specifically with just fills and just columns. You'll get all the information there. If I actually wanted to zoom in closer to make it easier to digitize, then I can absolutely do that. Remember, we started on the inside then the outside, so we start with the inside again, making it much easier. We can use a point editing system afterwards to clean up the design. So that was a left hand mouse button, left button. I'm now going to do a right mouse button and a right mouse button adjacent to each other, and then a left and a left, producing a nice curve. I can use the pan option to move along if I wanted to break this section down, but I don't need to. I can just zoom out and I can pan a little bit further over, or I can zoom out again. So again, remember, we started on the inside, so the same will be here. And again, I can zoom in if I wanted to here. Started on the inside again. These are 2 right mouse buttons and then 2 left mouse buttons, giving me that curve. Zoom out. I could pan again if I wanted to. Zoom out again. Pan, whichever, however you work best. And I'm going to zoom just into this corner, knowing that I need to start on the inside again. I'm just going to overlap by 1 stitch there. You can overlap 2 so the columns meet. Okay, so I've finished my column stitches around my edge of my design. I'm now going to switch back to running stitch mode, and I'm just going to put a couple of stitches in there to tie it down. You will notice that because I didn't zoom into the design, I didn't get quite close enough on this particular curve here. That's not a problem. It's condensed design, so at the end I can go to point editing, zoom in and just move those stitch points out, that stitch point out just a little bit, just to correct that design a little bit. Okay, so let's do fit. Okay, so we can now see the edging is done. If I use the draw from stitch number again and make it 0, press enter, we can see that stage 2 is now complete. Seeding stitch, fill background stitch is complete, and the edging is complete too. That completes part 2 of how to digitize your design, which was the edging or the border to the ABC design. Look out for part 3 in our YouTube channel to complete this episode.